So now let's work on these two inputs. So I'm gonna remove them because we're gonna have them as components. So we're gonna go to the source. We're gonna have another folder. Let's call it components. Okay, components, and inside this we're gonna have a lot of different components. For example, like for the home, we're gonna have components for the home page, for the profile, and every aspect of our projects. And one of them is gonna be called inputs. Okay, and in these inputs we're gonna have some inputs. Okay, we're gonna have one for the login and also one that's gonna be used in the register. Okay, and this is gonna be for the login, and the components of the register is gonna be this one. Okay, so we're gonna create this one right here now, and we're gonna work on it. Okay, so inside this inputs we're gonna have another folder. So this is going to be very organized. So this is going to be login input. Okay, and also we're going to have another folder which is going to be for the register inputs. Okay, like this. Okay, and in the login input, as we do usually, have an index.js and RFC right here. We're going to remove this because you don't need the to import React anymore, and this is going to be called login inputs. Okay, and this is, let's put it right here. Okay, and we're also going to have a style connected to it. So this is going to be style.css, and we're going to link it on here. So I'm going to import it. Okay, so import, and we're going to import the style.css. Okay, so now if we went back to our application right here, we can simply like call this component. Okay, so let's remove these two, and right here we're going to call the login input. As you see right here, we're gonna have the opportunity right here to auto import it. Okay, and you're gonna close this right here. Okay, so it's a self-closing component. Okay, so sorry, so this one right here we have an error. So this is gonna be styled. I always mess it up. Okay, so as you see right here in the component, this is what returns. Okay, it returns that's this div that's inside this login input, but we don't want that. We're gonna return an input. So this is just a better way to have a bare components, because we're gonna have other things that have for the errors and other stuff. So this is just what simply how to do it. So right here we're gonna have a class name for this. Let's call it input wrap, for example. Okay, and this is gonna be the input. So let's work on the CSS. So this is gonna be underscore. So let's work on a bit on the CSS. So if we're into the styles, let's select this. This is gonna be position relative. Okay, we're gonna see this why later, because we're gonna have other components inside. There's gonna be absolute positioned. So you're gonna have display flex, and the flex direction is gonna be column, and also we're gonna have align items to be center. Okay, and now we're gonna select the input inside, and now we're gonna work on it. So the outline is gonna be none, and also the border, we're gonna have the border. So the border for the input is gonna be 1px, is be solid. And also the color of it is gonna be this one. Okay, so it's gonna be BG third. Okay, third, and as you see right here, it's gonna be this way. Still a lot to do with the styles. So we're gonna have a background which is gonna be var, and it's gonna be the BG primary, so it's gonna be white. Okay, also let's see what else we have. The width is gonna be 100%. Okay, so text fold width, the height is gonna be 50 pixels. Okay, the font size is going to be 17 pixels. Let's see what else. The border radius is going to be 10 pixels. Also, we're going to have the padding left 10 pixels. So the text is going to be inside that's, moved a little bit from the left. Also, we're going to have margin bottom, which is going to be 10 pixels. So now we have this spaced out. And also, we're going to have the color to be var. And then we're going to have color primary. Okay, color primary. And also now if we went back right here, and we have like a placeholder, so this is going to be passed as props. We're going to talk about them a little bit from now. So if we have like a placeholder, for example, like email address or phone number, this is just an example. This is going to be the placeholder, and it's moved right here. Okay, so this is exactly what we have right here. Okay, and we're gonna have two of them. Okay, so this right here, we're gonna have two of them, and the properties are gonna be passed. So in React, you can pass properties in the components, and you can take it from the components itself, and then fulfill it here. Okay, so this was wrong. So for example, let's remove this right here. Let's remove everything from here. Okay, so this is a normal input that we have. So for example, if we want to pass like a placeholder, so like we can just go right here, and we have a placeholder. And right here, we're going to pass a placeholder that we want. So for example, we have right here this is going to be email address or phone number. So let's go right here. It's going to be email address or phone number. Okay, so this is a property that we pass in the component. So this placeholder, you can go here and then we can extract it from the props, and it's going to be take the placeholder. So the placeholder that we pass right here, we can just simply go right here, and the placeholder for the input is going to be simply this is not a string, so this is going to be a value, a variable, which is going to be the placeholder that we passed in the props. Okay, and as you see, it's being shown right here. So we can go also to the second one and add the placeholder, and here right here is going to be password. Okay, so password, and as you see, it's being passed as a prop and it's going to be shown this way. Also, we're going to pass the type and other stuff, so it's quite, so right here, let's pass the type. So let's go right here and then we pass the type. The type is going to be text, okay, for this, and also we're going to pass a name, which is going to be email, and also right here we're going to pass the type, which is going to be password, and also the name is going to be password. Okay, so the name is going to be password, and Formik, it uses the name to know which value it refers to. So now this is the name is password, so that it knows that there is a variable that is called password and it gets value using that. Okay, so I'm going to explain a bit further. So first of all, let's go back to the index. So as you see, we define the type to be password, for example, right here, and it's chooses a string. So we're going to go back right here, and we're going to go to the props, and we're going to get the rest of the props. Okay, so instead of like naming every variable that you're going to pass, you can just spread the props, and you can access them directly from here. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go and const, and we're going to get the field, and we're going to also get the meta, and we're going to use the use field from Formik, use field, and it takes the props. Okay, so let's me import the use field. Say import use field, and it's going to be from Formik. Okay, so right here we can go back to here. First of all, we need to spread the properties of the field and also spread the props in the inputs, and now we can pass anything that we want. So for example, this is the password. First of all, it's going to give us this error because it's not linked to a value, but before that, let's go right here. So in the input, let's go type, and the type is going to be from the field and dot type. Okay, and what it does is going to get the type that we passed right here. Okay, so this type that we passed right here is going to be this one right here. Also the name, which is the other property, which is going to be field.name. Okay, we get a problem because, as I said, the name is used to define a variable. So as you see right here, there is no variable that is called password, so that's why we get an error. Okay, so and the way that we define variables right here, so we can go back to Formik right here, and then right here we're going to define the value. So initial values, and inside this right here you define the values that you want. So email, and you're gonna define the the first value of it, which is gonna be null. Okay, which is the default value, and the password also it's gonna be null. Okay, but I don't want to use this way because now it's gonna work. So as you see, we still have this problem. Okay, now I refresh, as now the problem is gone. So now as you see, this is type password because we defined the password. So if we remove this, let's refresh and try again. It's working because because we need to define the initial values. Okay, yeah, we just needed to define the initial values. Okay, so now we have the values that we want for the form. So we have the email, which is going to be this one for this input that we named email, and also the password is going to be for this input that we passed right here by the name password. Okay, but the thing, I don't want to use the values right here. I want to use them here because they give you more freedom to work with. So we're going to have a state right here, and everyone knows what a state is. So I'm going to have login, I'm going to set login, and it's going to be use state. For you, if you don't know what use state, you're probably not going to be in this course, but if you don't know, simply you define a variable which is going to be login, but this time if you want to change the variable, you're going to use the set login, and then you change the variable by anything. So for example, just so for example, we have a value for login. Okay, so if we console log the login right here, and we're gonna go, if we have to open the console, as you see, this is the value of login. Okay, see, this is just a variable. You can go and set the login, call it welcome. Okay, and now you can console log the login, and it's gonna be welcome. Okay, because we changed the value of it. It's gonna be welcome. Okay, because we changed the value of it. So right here, let's go up, and it's gonna be welcome. Okay, so I know this was a bit necessary because probably you know this, but you know. Now we're gonna pass a variable. Let's call it login infos, okay? And we're gonna define this right here. So the const infos, let's go back right here. So the const login infos is gonna be an object that has the email, and it's gonna be the initial value right here, also the password, and it's gonna have the initial value right here. So we're gonna remove this right here. So because this email and password, we want to get them, you know, from here, okay? And the way that we're gonna do it, first of all, let's extract them. So we're gonna go and get the email and the password from the login, okay? So now we extract them, and now we set the values from this state, okay, and not from inside the Formik. And to make sure that it's work, we can just use enable, reinitialize, and now make sure that these values are, you know, reinitialized by the values that we have in this state, okay? So right now what we're gonna do is just we're gonna link, you know, when we write something right here, you want it to add to the email, okay? When you write something like in the email, you want the variable email to change, and you write something in the password, you want the value of the password to change. So the login infos that we're going to use to log in is going to be the email and password. So you want to fulfill them with whatever the user writes for these inputs, okay? So we have the on change, so it's going to be right here and right here. So the on change, and it's going to be a function. Let's call it handle login change, okay? And we get a problem because we don't have this function right here. So we're going to have const and list the function, and you're going to get the events, and we're going to do everything right here, okay? So let's see, for example, we want to console log the login, okay? It's right here, and we open the terminal. We're going to see, let's go up, we're going to have this problem right here, okay? Let me refresh. Okay, and we get right here. So we have the email and the password. This is the login objects, okay? We console log this right here. If we change like the email right here to something, as you see, it's gonna change, and we're gonna show us the new I don't know what's the problem. Let me refresh, and as you see, this is the email, okay? So this is the email, okay? It's been changed. So the way we're gonna do it is simply in this function, we're gonna first of all extract and the name and the value, and we're gonna get them from the event to the target. And the way that this is simply, we get the name and we'll also get the value. So right here we have the name, okay? So the name, we get it using the event.target. So the event goes to this input and look for the name, okay? The target, that name, and we're gonna get the email. So this is the name, is gonna be for this example email, and the value is simply gonna be what the user, okay, right here, okay? So this is quite simply what we did right here. And now we wanna change the login, you know, variable. We're gonna change it to the new one, okay? So first of all, we're gonna spread the login, so we're gonna keep everything all right to what it was, and then we're gonna change whatever the name was. For example, it's gonna be the email or the password, and then we're gonna change it with the value. So this is simply what we did. So right now we can write anything, and as you see, it's gonna change right here. We can write anything in the password, and as you see, it's been added to the object. So this was how you link the values to an input with Formik. So it's quite, you know, was quite easy, to be honest. So this way we linked everything, and now we're gonna work like on the errors to understand how to use Yap and Formik to get the errors you have.